So thank you all so much for joining us today. We're excited to spend about a half hour with you all. So I'm Jacob Hester. I'm a wellness specialist here with HR Health and Wellness, and I'm joined by my colleague, Jackie Carroll. So I'll let her introduce herself real quick as well.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jackie. I'm a health coach with UK Health and Wellness, and I also teach yoga and meditation. So I'm really excited that you all are here. You are my gratitude today. So thank you.
So we'll be spending about a half hour with you all, basically just going over gratitude and what that looks like, some of the benefits of it, and a few ways that you can practice that starting today. So we'll give you a few different ideas, but really the intention is to just get your feet wet, really. We're not going to dive too far into any one piece of it, but we'll have some resources at the end if you wanted to dive a little further. We'll share those with you, some other ways that you can engage and practice. So we'll go ahead and jump into it. I'm going to do a quick share screen here so we can run through our notes. So you all should hopefully be seeing that now. If you do have any questions or anything, you can drop those in the chat. I'll try to keep an eye on them, but we'll try to save most of those for the end, just so it's a little easier to keep in our flow. And I'll check those when we have a natural couple of breaks throughout this half hour together. So let's proceed. So let's start with just a quick gratitude check-in. I want to see how grateful you are, how grateful you feel in this moment. So I'm launching a poll right now and seeing where you all are at. So that'll range from you're feeling extremely grateful right now in this moment down to not feeling grateful at all. There's no wrong answer. You don't have to feel bad about any one of those answers. Just want to get a gauge of where everyone feels like they're at right now. So we do have a little bit of a mix. Most everyone is in now. And it looks like about 55% are in that very grateful state. So 4 out of 5 in this ranking here. We do have some people kind of in the middle there. About a third of you all are feeling moderately grateful. And then a few feeling extremely grateful and a few in the slightlys and not grateful at all. So like I said, there's no real wrong answer to that. Our hope today is to kind of move the needle just a little bit for you. Or at least give you some practices and tools and ways to think about moving that needle going forward as well. But something like gratitude is not going to be static, as we know with many things related to our health and well-being. So keep that kind of in mind as we go through as well. So I'll share those results if you want to see those real quick. All right. So first, we'll just talk about what gratitude is. Simplistically, it's really just an internal response to the good in our lives, both the tangible and intangible. So Emmons and Crumpler define it as an emotion, a virtue, a moral sentiment, a motive, a coping response, a skill, an attitude. They say it's all of these things and more, really. But again, minimally, it's an emotional response to a gift of some sort. So what you'll see here is it's basically an internal type of practice. Again, it's a feeling or it's a state that you are in, but it could be a practice in something that you begin to express as well. So we are in UK appreciation right now, and so that's why we thought this type basically is a precursor for appreciation. And so to define that as well, that's acknowledging the value and meaning of something. It could be an event, a behavior, a person, an object, and then really feeling a positive emotional connection to it. So what we see is that appreciation tends to be more of that externally directed or expression of gratitude. You'll see some conflicting definitions. You'll hear people use these interchangeably, and they are very closely related. But appreciation is basically, you can think about that as sort of your umbrella term. Or in the case of Fagley and Adler here, they consider these as nested terms. So gratitude is nested under appreciation. So what are some of the benefits? It's broadly, really gratitude benefits our overall health and sense of well-being. So it's one of the most reliable methods for increasing happiness and life satisfaction. So those are kind of key points of that overall sense of well-being. So one way that happiness has been described is this experience of joy and contentment or positive well-being combined with a sense that one's life is good and meaningful and worthwhile. So if you don't take away anything else, that's one of the really, really big benefits and how transformative a practice of gratitude or trying to get to that state of gratitude is. But we find that it helps a lot of other areas. So I'll kind of touch on these as well. So our mental health, for example, research is finding that it can improve our mental health and can be a really useful part of therapy for a variety of mental health conditions, including anxiety and depression. They've seen that it helps lower those states. It's great for improving our resilience. Not only does it allow us to celebrate and magnify the goodness when life is going well, it also helps us cope with hard times by energizing and healing and bringing hope. So it allows us also to find opportunities in current challenges or lessons from past ones as well. So if you can sort of view things through the lens of gratitude, it really helps us with our resilience. There's a multitude of physical health benefits, things like lowering our immune system, lowering our blood pressure, or strengthening our immune system, lowering our blood pressure, reducing symptoms of illness, things like colds last a shorter amount of time when we have a more grateful state. And we're generally less bothered by things like aches and pains. It's also really great for improving our sleep. We'll share a practice later that actually helps you sleep a little bit better as well. And it helps strengthen relationships. So bringing us closer to our friends and loved ones. It increases our satisfaction with those folks and with that relationship. And there's studies also say that it may encourage a more equitable division of labor between partners as well. So a lot of different personal benefits. And again, this is kind of a broad brushstroke of some of the benefits that you'll find of practicing gratitude regularly. There are also some benefits that are more specific to work. So we know that stress basically affects more than 1 in 3 people classify themselves as being stressed at work at sort of any given moment. It's probably a little higher post-pandemic. I think that's actually a pre-pandemic number. And work is actually the leading cause of stress for adults. So again, kind of tapping back into that idea of resilience, especially sort of in the moment or processing after the moment and dealing with the fallout of that stress. So your stress response. This is really helpful, again, as a practice to help manage stress. By recognizing the good around you, you can also kind of better understand your purpose and value. So that leads us to things like self-efficacy and self-worth and a greater sense that, goals can be achieved and that you feel like you're valued in the environment that you're in, and particularly in the workplace. The other thing that we see is that it also helps keep your ego in check as well. So it's a nice little balance that gratitude provides us. Not only does it make us feel better about ourselves, but it also doesn't lead us to have an inflated sense of ourselves as well. So that can help you with your relationships and things like that in the workplace as well, which leads us to those next few bullet points here, where gratitude also reinforces other pro-social attitudes and behaviors. So things like empathy and compassion, kindness and altruism, curiosity, those types of things that really drive a great place to work for folks and really builds things like connection and trust among coworkers or your satisfaction with your job or the folks that you work with. And we see that it's a social contagion. So it creates sort of this feedback loop. If you're practicing gratitude, you have an attitude of gratitude, so to speak, that emanates to other folks because you're more likely to express that to folks as well. So getting more into that appreciation realm. When those people receive appreciation, that could be a gift for them in that moment. That is where, they feel grateful and then they spread that on to other folks. So it's kind of a snowball effect in a way. And because it's, reinforcing these pro-social attitudes and behaviors, it also reduces or kind of negates those other toxic behaviors that lead to a toxic culture. So things like envy and gossip and hostility and blame. So research actually finds that grateful people are approximately 20 to 30% less likely to feel annoyed or irritated or aggressive. So again, a lot of benefits in the relationship space, whether that's with others at work or others outside of work. And then the last one there, I have an asterisk on it. So things like boosting performance and motivation and engagement, those are byproducts of more grateful folks. But I put an asterisk on this and put it at the end on purpose, actually, because approaching this needs to be authentic. I think all of you will probably know you see through those things when they're a false effort. And so the sort of bottom line or the business case really shouldn't be the driving reason for being more grateful. Yes, they're a great byproduct of that, and they will certainly occur when more people are more grateful, but don't make that the sole reason that we're approaching something like this. You can tap back into that previous slide about the personal benefits as being a great reason to do that. So we're going to take a few moments here to practice. So I'm going to turn it over to Jackie to lead us through a guided meditation.
Thank you, Jacob, and thank you to all of you who are here today. I say this in almost all my presentations, but I started at UK when I was 18 as an undergrad. I moved from Michigan. I didn't know anything about Kentucky, and I have been in the same building, same department, same everything since then. So the way that you might perceive the way I'm, really so grateful is like UK has literally been my home. I'm 48 now, and I've been at UK this whole time. And I have been supported and guided and encouraged by so many people at UK that it makes me want to have like a billboard of gratitude for all of you. You have no idea how much you can change somebody's life just by talking to them, listening, and smiling. So with that, I would like to take you through a practice. If you have a peaceful place that you can close your eyes, I invite you to do that. If closing your eyes just doesn't feel comfortable, just sort of gaze at something not distracting, preferably not your phone, and just breathe. Thinking about just breathing, even when there may be distractions around you. You may have had a super busy morning. You may be thinking or judging this idea of gratitude. And whatever it is, just keep focusing more on how it feels to be here breathing. As you're breathing in and breathing out, imagine that with every breath you're expanding. You're expanding the breath, feeling the chest rise and fall, like the expansion is breaking through anything that's blocking you from feeling gratitude or feeling hope in this moment. As you breathe in and out in this expanded way, like almost like you're opening your heart, relaxing your shoulders down, and then you're not even just paying attention to the breath now. Now pay attention to the appreciation of you, of your struggles, of your celebrations that have gotten you right here. Even thinking about the people at UK who have maybe shaped or guided your success, your career, your education. And then just the appreciation of this humongous, massive place that we all work, that we all get to contribute to. that without each of us, there would not be a great place. So if you can imagine yourself maybe at your favorite place, either on campus or your work office, whatever, wherever you are, and just bring to your mind two things that you can call in your mind that you are truly grateful for in this moment. Either not work related or work related, whatever it is. And as you think of those two things, continue your breath like it's expanding the amount of gratitude you have for those two things. Like on your inhale, you're breathing in so much expansion, so much gratitude, so much awareness and appreciation. And on the exhale, you're just releasing, creating more space for the next breath, the next expansive breath, for more appreciation, for more gratitude. And then as you feel your next breath, think of the tiniest, silliest thing that you're thankful for in this moment and let it bring a smile to your face. It could be you found a pen that's purple. Whatever it is, think of the tiniest, little bittiest thing. And then once you've thought of it, seal in this truth that your gratitude can be that silly, tiny thing or this huge, amazing, wonderful experience. It all matters. And so do you. Take a nice collective breath in. All of us will take a big breath in with an audible exhale, like, and then gently let your eyes blink open. And as you blink open your eyes, even if you can't see the person on the screen, we see names, we see pictures of people. Just take like 2 seconds and look at the people's names with appreciation, because this is so important for us to acknowledge each other, to validate each other, and to encourage each other. So thank you all for doing that practice with me, and I hope I get to see you tomorrow in person. Thank you, Jacob.
Thanks, Jack. I love sneaking these in to presentations and things like that. It's always a little funny to do it, especially as a presenter, to take part in it as well with folks, because it feels unnatural at times. So if you felt a little uncomfortable or unnatural in that, know that we're experiencing those types of things too. And the more that we do them, the better we get at it as well. So I'm going to jump back into our PowerPoint here. So that's one way to practice. But before we talk about a couple of other ways, I want to hear from you all. What came up for you? What things were you grateful for? What was that silly moment that you can come up with? I know for me, if you want to put those in the chat, if you're comfortable, feel free to share those in the chat. There's a lot of utility in sharing these with each other as well. And I'll try to see some of those. You certainly don't have to share, but you are absolutely welcome if something came up and you want to share it with folks, and create more of a community out of that practice as well. But for me, what came up was a moment this morning with my toddler. He does a thing we call fast feet, where he gets really excited and he just runs in place basically. and he tries to get us to do it together. And I was brushing my teeth this morning, and he came in there and was just ready to go, ready and raring this morning, and we did fast feet together as I was brushing my teeth in the bathroom. And so for me, that was a really small moment of gratitude, when the rest of his morning was a little more in the grouchier state, you could say. So that's something I've been clinging to today, and that's a thing that came up for me in the middle of that gratitude meditation. So feel free to peruse the chat here to see some of the things that folks are sharing, the things that came up for them, things like new grandbabies. There's some things about larger moments, the temperature in the room being very comfortable. That's a great example there. Singing karaoke in the back of a bus at a wedding over the weekend. Family members, things like that are really popping up. Seeing a whole host of things, a yoga class, being able to work remotely, things like health. So a lot of great ideas. You can keep sharing those in the chat. But for the sake of time, I'll continue on here and let's talk about some other ways you can practice. So I've got 3 more that I'll share with you. So the first one here is going to be taking a savoring or gratitude walk. And so this is really great for helping us practice mindful awareness with the added benefits of physical activity in nature. So consciously savoring a moment helps us cement that experience in our brains and really maximizes those benefits. Tack on physical activity and nature, which also have profound impacts on our health and overall well-being, and you're really kind of maximizing it to the best of its ability. So the way that you do this is simply take a walk. Look for any positive things that you see, hear, smell, taste, feel, all of the senses as you walk. You can zoom out and kind of take in the broader landscape of things, or you can zoom in and focus on a bug or a leaf, or anything like that. So take it a lot of different ways. But as you take note of each of those things, pause for a moment and identify what makes it pleasurable. What are you finding joy in that moment? Why are you grateful for whatever it is that you took note of? And so the recommendation for this is to do it for 20 minutes a day for 1 week. And you'll start to see the benefits of that. Again, not only the mindful awareness piece of that, the physical activity piece of that, the nature piece of that, but also the gratitude that comes along with that. If you want to practice this a little bit further, we actually have a Step into Nature challenge that's happening June 1st through the 14th. And the goals of that will be, it's a combo challenge. So you'll set a step goal to get an average daily step throughout that 14 days. But then we'll also be encouraging you to try to get 12 out of the 14 days of getting 20 or more minutes outside each day. So you can focus on the steps, you can focus on the nature aspect, or you can focus on both. And we've got some prizes associated with that. So I'll drop the link to that if you're interested in the chat here in just a few. The next one we'll talk about is called 3 Good Things. And this is a pretty science-based, research-based practice. What it does is it teaches you to notice, remember, and here's that word again, savor. It also helps you end your day or your week on a positive note. So this is really great for benefiting our sleep as well. So the way that you do this is at the end of the day, write down 3 good things that happened to you that day. And specificity is going to be important here. So writing down as much detail as you can. So things like where you were, who you were with, how you felt at that time, or how you feel in that moment, or maybe why you think that thing happened. So the recommendation for this is to try it each night before bed for at least 1 week. But even just doing it 1 week has been shown to have benefits. So one study actually found that a 15-day 3 Good Things intervention saw statistically significant improvements to happiness and well-being up to 12 months later. So 15 days affects that other 350, which is pretty profound to me. And like I said, even just doing it once a week is going to have its benefits. The last one is another writing exercise. So this one's going to be a gratitude letter. So this reminds you of your connection to others and helps strengthen relationships. So basically what you'll do is recall someone who did something for you, whether that's a single moment or something more broad. Maybe it was a mentor or something like that. But basically someone you haven't expressed that gratitude to yet. And you'll want to write roughly a 1-page letter to that person describing what they did for you, why you're grateful for them, or maybe how their behavior affected you. Again, specificity is going to be kind of key here, not just a simple thank you. And then once you've written that letter, you can decide to deliver it if you want. Maybe you set up a phone call. Maybe you actually mail it to them. But basically, that's again going to kind of strengthen that bond between the two of you. And really, again, it could be a gift to that person in that moment as well. So you're sharing and expressing that gratitude. But if you hold on to that letter, or maybe you wrote it to someone who's no longer with you, that's okay too. You're still going to get benefits from that. And research has found that you see benefits last for about a month. So the recommendation is to try to repeat this about every 4 to 6 weeks to kind of keep that rolling for you. So again, these are just a few ways that you can start practicing gratitude now. We chose these 4 because they're paired with other common activities, which makes them easier to incorporate and also maximizes those well-being benefits. But if you're feeling stuck, you can always start with kindness or service. They're really precursors to gratitude, and they help drive those as well. So if you think about savoring, if you think about kindness, you think about service, those things are going to lead you to gratitude as well. So like I said, if you're ever feeling stuck, start there. So I also want to just take a moment to share a few ways, a few other places, and I'll drop these links in the chat as well. So if you want to dive a little deeper, you want to get a little more personalized with this, we have 2 certified health coaches on staff. My colleague Jackie's one of them. Our partner in crime, Amy Radcliffe Cadet, is the other one. And you could do a consult with them for free. So you can do that by phone. You can do that video chat, and you can do that in person as well. They also offer programs like Happy Healthy Human and Co-Room Mindfulness that touch on things like gratitude and help support it as well. As UK employees, we also have a partnership with Headspace. So you can claim free access to the Headspace app. Headspace offers hundreds of guided exercises for meditation, sleep, focus, and movement. So you can start and end your day feeling like your best self. So there are multiple gratitude practices in the app. I did one earlier today in the app. I've actually been using it for the last 3 or 4 years. So I'm really excited to be able to share this with folks. And I'm glad and grateful that we're able to offer this as a benefit for you all. There are a limited number of those licenses available, but an added bonus to this as well is that any employee that signs up for this, they'll actually have the ability to share this with 5 additional family members as well for free. So a really great benefit to be able to share with those close to you as well. So you can go to that QR code or link. Again, I'll drop that in the chat here at the end as well. And I'll also share these things with you at the very end in an email so that you have links to these later. And then the final one, this is selfishly promoting, you can see over my shoulder here, Becoming Wildly Resilient. It's a podcast that I've been hosting for the department for the last 3 years. And we're getting ready to expand that to bring in Jackie and Amy as well. They're going to be taking on some co-hosting duties, and we're going to be expanding the type of content that we have. So we're really excited to share that with folks as well. You can find that podcast on any of the major platforms. So you'll find, like I said, a lot of different types of content. Things like gratitude will come up and other ways for us to thrive. So definitely check that out if you're looking for on-demand type of content. But we're right at noon here. So Jackie and I think can hang on for a few minutes and take any questions that you have. But if not, we wish you a great rest of the day. We hope to see some of you all out at Appreciation Day tomorrow if you can make it. But if not, we really appreciate you being here with us for this last half hour.